Hi, hello. It is like 2 minutes past 3:33. It's not quite 11:11, but close. 3:33 is my favorite time of day, and I missed my 11:11 stretch and strengthen session, so I thought I'd come out and do a quick body check. Check in with the boots too while I'm at it. It's usually a good idea. As usual, mostly just keeping myself accountable to myself and inviting you to join me if you feel like it, to whatever degree you feel like it. I encourage you to at least take a couple deep breaths and let things go. De-stress a little bit. I'm going to do a shoulder shrug. Just both letting go of stresses and also increasing the threshold distance of stress managing capabilities by some deep breathing, some letting go, and also some stretching and strengthening. Let's get to it. I'm gonna take a couple breaths, bring my attention into the bottoms of my feet, root myself into the center of the earth, scrunch my blanket around, and then I'm going to swan dive down with a relatively flat back from the hips. That's below the waist down here. All the way down, making sure not to lock the knees, coming down into a forward fold. I'm just hanging here, letting gravity do some unwinding. Had some misalignment the last week or so, so it feels good to just stretch that back out, stretch the neck out, bring hands onto hair or head and just add a little extra weight, little pull. I'm going to use the hands on the left leg for a little pull over to this side. Let's do a little twist from here. Gazing up past those left fingers. And then back to center. And then over to the right, using my left hand on my right foot for torque. Gazing up past those right fingers. Getting a nice twist through the shoulders there. And the spine. Coming back to center. And let's roll up. One vertebra at a time, stacking on the next, just checking in with the spine. Let's lift the arms, breathing in and exhaling. Let's do a couple more of those, getting the knees involved, breathing in. Sinking down. Again, filling the lungs, filling all the cells with loving lightheartedness, and then just letting go. One more breath in. Let's go the other way. Breathing in. And again, in. I'm just playing with the stretch while I'm also practicing some breathing. Gotta do a little shaking out those shoulders. They're all cut chunky. One more deep breath in, filling the lungs, filling the cells with lightheartedness. And then exhaling, squeezing out that air. Making room for new, fresh air. Shake that out again. Shake out the hands, shake out the hips. I mean the shoulders and the hips. Shake out the feet. Let's roll down this time. Again, bringing my awareness into the bottoms of my feet and rooting to the center of the earth. And then one at a time, nice and slow. Just noticing where there's suppleness and where there's stickiness. Where it's cut chunky and where it's flowy. Seeing if anybody wants to say anything to me in the body department. time. Bend the knees, swing the arms back, coming into a bit of a counter stretch, pushing those hips forward, lifting the eyes, lifting the chest, and then coming back to neutral. Shake that out again. I'm going to step back with the left foot into a moderate lunge, checking that that front knee isn't crunching past the toes, pressing that back heel into the ground, and then twisting the hips into a perpendicular plane, pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under a little, looking for a nice, long, strong, cohesive, coherent line through the midsection. Bring your arms up overhead, making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. Then I'm going to bring that heel forward a little bit onto perpendicular line. I've got to move this blanket out of my way. Opening this front knee, so now I'm opening the hips. Checking out the side plane here. The back foot is on the perpendicular line now to the parallel line it was on, and then I'm going to squeak that back foot out a little bit more and bending from the hip again, this time onto the side plane, coming into a deep side lunge or twisting side triangle or a aeroplane pose, as I like to call it. Put your hand up like that, you'll see. Feels like an aeroplane. Sometimes I like to make airplane noises, but even though I feel like it right now, I had a sudden moment of shyness, believe it or not. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah. Anyway, bringing this left hand down and reaching for this opposite thigh, giving a nice twist through the midsection, looking down past that long leg, using my right hand and leg against each other for torque and support, making sure not to collapse in that leg or that arm. Giving all the organs a nice hug. I'm going to unwind that and come onto this diagonal line, looking for an energetic line out the heel, out the fingertips, through the body. And then shifting onto the back toes, bringing both hands down on the inside of that right leg for a nice deep lunge. And then I'm going to bring weight onto both palms and bring that foot back to hit the back foot, pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, and pressing the heels toward the earth, pressing the heart toward the earth, getting a nice stretch through the legs, through the chest, through the arms. Just breathing into that for a breath or two. And then I'm going to swing the body forward, bringing the chest up through the shoulders. I'm going to squeeze these legs back a little bit, keeping legs tight together. If you have any issues with the low back, it helps to clench the butt together, kind of protect the low back. And then I'm going to try to relax the front of the body, keeping the elbows in close, enjoying the heater sun right in front of me, and lifting the eyes and the chest and the chin. Just getting a nice stretch through the front of the body. Sometimes I like to kind of rock on those toes. Just play with that stretch. This heater's about to burn me, so I'm going to lift the hips again, pressing back through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pushing into those heels. Bend the right knee and press into the left. Bend the left knee and press into the right heel. And again, pressing into the left heel. And pressing into the right. And then pressing into both heels. And swinging that left foot forward into a nice deep lunge. And then bringing weight onto that front foot, bringing the back foot forward to meet that foot and hanging here again in forward fold. Just letting the spine unwind some more. Bending the knees, swinging the arms back. I'm going to come into that counter stretch again, pushing the hips forward, lifting the chest and the eyes and the hands. And coming back to neutral. Shake all that out again. I'm going to step back with the right foot this time into a moderate lunge, pushing that back heel down, checking that the front knee isn't crunching past the toes, bringing that back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under, looking for a nice, long, strong line through the center, through the core of the body. Bring these arms up, making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. Check in with the breath and the smile. It's always a good time to do that. I'm going to swing that back heel forward a little bit onto the perpendicular line, opening the hip, swinging this knee out a little bit, exploring this side plane here on the inside of the body. Then I'm going to slide that back foot out a little bit more, bending from the hip. Come down into a side twisting aeroplane pose. Lifting that right hand and gazing past those fingertips. That's a fast little plane going by. That might be a fast little plane. I'm going to bring this hand around to reach for this opposite thigh and give a nice twist, gazing out past that long leg, twisting through the torso, giving all those organs a nice hello. Hello, how you doing? Everybody says they're doing pretty all right today, at least the ones I can hear, which are the quiet ones. It's the way body language works, right? What do you think? I'm bring this hand on the inside of the left foot and enjoy that deeper lunge, shifting onto the toes of that back foot, and then bringing weight onto hands, bringing the front foot back to meet back foot, and pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into the heels, pressing the heart toward the earth. I'm going to come into a plank position. Just going to rock these feet to backwards, keeping hands right under shoulders, keeping elbows in close to the body, keeping the body in as much alignment as possible. I'm going to come down nice and slow in front of this heater and hold here at the bottom for a breath or so. And then pushing up. Let's do one more of those. Down, nice and slow. Holding at the bottom if possible. And then pushing back up. Lifting the hips, pushing through the palms, through the spine. Tipping the tailbone, pressing into those heels. A little bit wider now. Got a lot of ka-chunking in my back today. Let's swing this right foot forward in between the hands. Nice deep lunge on this side. Ka-chunking in the back for me means I got to do more crunches and leg lifts. It's abdominal strength that helps support that low back area. Let's step forward with that back foot and hang here in a forward fold. Just a pro tip from me to you, if you got back pain, work in the front often helps relieve that. Stretching and strengthening the front of the body. Might seem counterintuitive. I'm going to roll up one vertebra at a time, stacking on the next. Checking in with the spine. Shake all that off. Let's come down and do a little squat while I'm thinking of it. Just good for the body, something I try to do daily. A little hop is also a good idea. Pressing the heels down. You can use my elbows on my knees to help push the knees back and pull the chest and torso forward. Still pressing those heels down. You can kind of rock on the feet if that feels good to you. For me, that feels real good in the low back and in the torso. I like to press more with one hand and kind of get a little twist through there. Gives a nice stretch through the shoulders and chest. Do that a couple times on each side. Let's come and do a little cat-cow while we're down close to the floor. Coming onto hands and knees. Bring my blanket back over here. Onto hands and knees with the relatively flat back. I don't know if you can see me over there or not. I can't see if you can see. Anyway, pressing up. I gotta move that other blanket. Pressing up through the shoulders and tucking the tailbone under, making the spine as round as possible. Pushing the shoulder blades apart. Pulling up in the abdomen like a cat. And then the opposite kind of stretch. Tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, lifting the head and chest and eyes, and letting the belly just kind of sag, the back sway. Looking up. Let's do that a couple times with breath. Breathing out. And in, holding. Out and holding. And in and hold. And then exhale from here. We're going to reverse the breath. And then inhale back into the cat. Pressing those shoulder blades apart, tucking the tailbone, really curling the spine as much as possible. And then exhaling, letting the belly drop. One more inhale, hold, and then exhale. Let's come back to neutral in the tabletop position. I'm going to come from here onto my toes, so tucking the toes under and lifting the knees, pressing back into downward facing dog, shorter style. I'm going to walk those feet forward toward the hands, coming into a forward fold and just hanging here again. Releasing the spine, letting gravity do the unwinding. Do a little wiggling down here just to release. I'm going to bend the knees, swing the arms back, coming again into a counter stretch. Pushing the hips forward, lifting the chest and eyes, and then coming back to neutral. Shake that out a little bit. Let's bring hands behind the back, clasping hands, pressing palms, rolling the shoulder blades towards each other, rolling elbows towards each other, and increase that counter stretch, back bend a little bit by pulling the hands down. Protecting the neck with my shoulders here. And then from the hips, I'm going to do a forward fold, this time bringing my hands with me. And actively stretching, so I'm still pulling with the muscles, the shoulder blades towards each other, the elbows towards each other, the palms pressing. And I'm just going to draw my triceratops ridges up behind me, getting a nice stretch through the chest, through the back, through the shoulders. And then I'm going to release that, except for leaving the hands clasped gently, and just relax the arms, letting gravity give me a passive stretch. Trying to relax through the belly still and just hang from the hips. And again, actively pulling the shoulders and elbows and palms together. Actively stretching, and then we're going to make that a passive stretch, disengaging the muscles, just keeping hands gently clasped and letting them just fall wherever they fall with gravity. One more time, actively stretching, pulling shoulder blades, elbows and palms together. Let's pull those over to the left a little bit for a gentle twist. You can bend that left knee toward the left shoulder, increase that twist a little. And then over to the right. Looking to the left and bending that right knee to right shoulder for, again, an increased little twist. Coming back to center, and then again releasing the muscles of the arms, just letting that be a passive stretch. And then I'm going to bend the elbows, bring the hands down to the low back, and give the body a nice check. Check in with the low back, and the butt, and the hamstrings. Giving the body a little love, a little check. Checking in with the backs of the knees, backs of calves, backs of ankles. Coming around front and give those toes a little acknowledgement. Hello, toes. And the fronts of the ankles, fronts of shins, kneecaps, thighs, pelvis. Check in with the torso and all the organs. Sometimes I like to give a little drum check through there and in the chest. Let's do some smoothing down the arms. It's just a way of balancing the energy of the body, dislodging stagnation, and just checking in with everybody, letting everybody in the body know that you care. Rub palms together and do just a little face smoothing. Kind of bring the whole body together, shake that off. Gathering up stresses and just releasing all of that. You can even set it down gently if you want, if you need to pick up your stresses again. But I recommend just throwing them down, shaking them off. One more deep breath in, smoothing up, and then down the back of the head and shaking that off. I'm going to do just a little balancing, bringing weight onto the right leg, bringing the left knee up toward left shoulder, relaxing those shoulders, relaxing the supporting foot and leg, tipping the tailbone under a little bit. Let's do a little ankle rotation while we're here. One direction and then the other direction, and then I'm going to reach for the bottom of this foot. Try not to fall over. Give a nice stretch, pushing with the foot a little bit on those hands to give a nice stretch through the shoulders, and then pulling back with those shoulders on the foot. Checking in with that supporting side a little bit, and then stretching the foot up. I'll call the county guy back in a minute. That's how much I love y'all and me. I'm in the middle of something. Bringing my weight onto the left side, bringing this right knee up toward right shoulder. Let's balance that out, letting the shoulders drop, relaxing that supporting side. Let's give that ankle a quick stretch, rotation, and then reaching for the bottom of this foot. Giving a nice stretch through the backs of the shoulders there for pulling back with the shoulders and straightening that leg. I guess I'm going to keep it nice and short to match the other side since I got interrupted with the phone. It's all good. Releasing that, bringing it back down, stomp it out, shake it out a little bit. Oh, so close on the clap snaps. My poor hands have been swollen for months, but I think they're on the mend. We'll keep checking in with them. I keep forgetting that I'm wearing contacts. Don't need the glasses. Pushing to my hips a little bit because that feels good. And get on to my 100 any reps and my inversions. I hope you're remembering to do your minimums and maybe your maximums. And at the very least, remembering to give yourself some love because you are worth it. Hopefully giving your body a little playful movement because your body's a movement machine. I'll be seeing you. Thanks for stopping by. Bella, Mark, Eliath, good to see you. Happy Wednesday and peace to you.